They didn't yell. They didn't accuse. They just didn't invite me. It started with a group message I wasn't in. A dinner. Mom's birthday. Saturday at Patterson's Steakhouse, the nice one near the lake. Family only. I found out from my younger brother Ethan. He sent a text like it was nothing. Hey, just so you know, Mom's dinner this weekend is kinda just for close family. Hope that's okay. Close family. I stared at the words for longer than I care to admit. I tapped out a reply, then deleted it. Typed again. Deleted again. Finally, I sent one line. Did you mean to leave me out? He never answered. Instead, my sister Jenna did. 2 hours later. Jenna, 2 years younger than me, lives in our hometown in Georgia. Divorced. 2 boys. Teaches part-time as a classroom aide at the elementary school we both went to. Her reply. Let's not make this about you, Madison. That was it. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't have words. I had plenty. I just didn't see the point of using them on people who'd already decided I was too much, too far, too different. I am Madison Lane, 33. I co-founded CoreMap, a logistics tech firm based in Seattle. We build predictive routing systems to help cities and companies cut waste money fuel time. In the world I built, I'm seen, heard, needed. But in the world I came from, I'm a ghost with a last name they still use when it's convenient. So no, I didn't beg, but I booked a flight. Because something about silence this loud. It asks to be answered. I left Georgia when I was 21. No savings. Just a laptop with a cracked hinge, 2 suitcases, and a one-way ticket to Seattle. My father didn't say goodbye. My mother packed me a sandwich. Tuna on rye. No note. At the time, I told myself it was enough. I rented a shoebox studio above a deli that opened at 4 a.m., slept on a borrowed futon, waited tables, took night classes in data modeling, wrote code in bus terminals and laundromats. For 3 years, I worked like the rent was due yesterday, which most days it was. Jenna stayed. She married a man named Kyle. Church boy. Strong chin, quiet smile. They had their first son when she was 25. Then, another 2 years later. I sent baby gifts. Jenna rarely replied, but Mom always thanked me for the onesies, the books, the Target gift cards. It was polite gratitude, not connection. I tried to come home that Christmas. They said the boys had RSV, and it wasn't a good time. By 28, I co-founded CoreMap with a former professor and a truck driver I met through an old roommate. We built our first model on free public data and borrowed servers. It broke constantly, but when it worked like nothing else. We saved one retailer $40,000 in fuel in a single quarter. That's when the calls started: investors, mayors, national carriers. We got featured in a quiet industry newsletter. Then a louder one. Then TechCrunch. Back home, they still thought I was in computers. When people asked, my dad said, "She does something with maps and machines." It's a little over my head. It always was. The year Jenna divorced Kyle, she almost lost her car. Payments had lapsed. Her credit was shot. She didn't tell anyone except Mom quietly one night on the phone. Mom told me. I wired $8,000 that same evening. No one thanked me, not officially, not in words, not even Jenna. But a month later, she posted a picture on Facebook with the caption, "Starting fresh, 1 mile at a time. God is good." No tag, no text. But there was the car, same license plate. Paid off. That was the moment I knew something had shifted. Not in me, in them. I hadn't been disowned. Not exactly. Just deleted. Quietly. Piece by piece. And the first hand to press delete had been the one I helped the most. Jenna. Monday morning came like most do: early, quiet, too much coffee. At CoreMap, we start the week with stand-ups at 6:45 a.m. No fluff, just clarity. We operate lean even now, especially now. After the meeting, Marla from HR caught me near the elevator. Your noon onboarding session has 5 new hires. One of them's from Georgia, actually. Nathan Wells. I paused. The name was familiar, but only faintly, like hearing a song you used to hum as a child but haven't thought of in decades. Then it clicked. Nathan, Jenna's boyfriend. The one who showed up in her holiday photos last year wearing flannel and a quiet smile. The one the family called solid, sweet, safe. Safe men are favored where I come from. Marla handed me the packet. He's junior data analytics, background in civil engineering, pivoted to systems modeling last year. I walked into the onboarding room 15 minutes later. 5 fresh faces, fresh haircuts, nervous posture. One of them flinched ever so slightly when I said, "Good morning." "I'm Madison Lane co-founder and COO. Welcome to CoreMap." "Nathan." His jaw tensed. His pen hovered in the air. He didn't say a word for the next 30 minutes. After the session, as the others filed out to meet with HR, he lingered. "Miss Lane, I mean Madison," he said. "Madison's fine. Unless you plan on making the onboarding difficult?" I said, almost smiling. He laughed, nervous, hands in pockets. I didn't realize it was you. Jenna never mentioned you ran the company. She doesn't mention me much at all." He nodded slowly. "I guess I didn't connect the dots." I waited. "Is it weird that I'm here?" he asked. "Working for you, I mean. Only if you make it weird." That seemed to lift a weight off his shoulders. "Okay. Cool. I mean, I really wanted this job. You all are doing amazing work." "Then focus on that," I said. "And you'll be fine." He smiled, genuine this time. Not performative. As he walked out, I felt something shift, not in him, in me. Someone from their world had stepped into mine, and for the first time, didn't look away. It was Thursday when the post went up. Jenna's Facebook, public, no tags. Just a photo of Mom smiling, wide cheeks pink, framed by gold balloons that read 60. The caption read, "Can't wait to celebrate this beautiful woman this Saturday. Family is everything." I stared at it longer than I meant to. There were 38 comments within an hour. Cousins, church friends, old neighbors. So proud of her. All the sisters together again. Debbie's bringing the lemon cake. I scrolled through them like I was watching a window close. No mention of me. Not even a quiet "wish you were here." No one asked where the firstborn daughter was. I wasn't forgotten. I was erased. There's a difference. Forgetting is passive, accidental. But erasure takes intention. Silence sharp enough to cut. I closed the app, pushed the phone away, sat there for a while. The kind of stillness that feels heavier than noise. Then I stood up, walked to my closet, pulled out the navy suit, pressed it myself. I booked the flight that night, not out of spite, not to make a scene. I just needed them to see. Not a resume, not a headline. Me, not who they remember, who I actually became. They didn't ask me to come, but I wasn't going to let absence tell the story this time. Georgia smelled the same as it always had, like fresh lawn clippings, old pine, and air heavy with memory. I checked into a modest hotel just past the town limits. No frills, no chatter. Just a clean bed, a working lamp, and silence I didn't have to earn. I answered a few messages, steamed my suit, and placed the envelope on the nightstand. White paper, no markings, just weight. Inside were 2 first-class tickets to Alaska. My mother once said she wanted to see the northern lights before her knees gave out. She'd said it in passing 30 years ago over a cracked mug and store-brand tea. I remembered. I always remembered. Patterson's Steakhouse hadn't changed since my high school graduation dinner. Same brown awning, same host with the pocket square, same piano cover looping in the background. I arrived a little after 7. The hostess blinked when I gave my name, looked down. The list hesitated, then gestured gently. "Back room to the left. Private party." The laughter reached me first. Silverware tapping glasses, clinking the uneven rhythm of people who hadn't thought about who might be missing. Then I stepped in. My mother was at the center of a long table, radiant in royal blue, framed by cousins, neighbors, old friends. Her smile looked earned. Next to her sat my father, arms crossed like a man posing for a portrait. Jenna sat to her left, her boys fidgeting, cheeks flushed with sugar. And at the far end near the window, Nathan. Silent. Watching. The room didn't stop all at once. It paused in pieces. One cousin glanced up. An uncle froze mid-bite. The murmur dimmed until there was nothing but ambient tension. Then came the voice I expected, louder than necessary and exactly in character. "Well," my father said, with a half-smirk look, who decided to join us. I didn't answer, didn't even look his way. Instead, I walked to my mother, steady, unhurried. I leaned down, placed the envelope gently on the table in front of her. "Happy birthday, Mom," I said. "I hope it's as beautiful as you are." She looked confused at first, as if my presence had come without warning or precedent. Her hands hovered before picking up the envelope, cautious like it might dissolve. When she opened it, her fingers trembled. Her breath caught. The silence grew denser. She looked up at me, eyes wide, mouth forming a question she didn't voice. Just one word made it out: Alaska. I nodded. "You once said you'd never been. I thought it was time." She swallowed hard, tears brimming but not falling. Her hand reached out not to grab, but to anchor. And from the other side of the table, my father exhaled in that way he does when he's uncomfortable but wants control. "Still love making an entrance, don't you? Always have to turn it into your show." The words didn't sting. Not this time, because the room wasn't only looking at him anymore. The silence didn't break. It shifted. Not shattered like glass, but bent like heat. Uneasy, visible, hard to name. My mother held the envelope in both hands like it might slip through her fingers. Her lips parted again, but no words came. Not yet. Across the table, Jenna's fork rested awkwardly on her plate, untouched since I'd walked in. Her boys squirmed beside her, sensing what adults refused to say. And then there was Nathan. Still seated at the far end, one hand around his water glass knuckles pale. He was watching me. Not confused. Not shocked. Just waiting. My father, unfazed, took a sip of wine, cleared his throat like he was getting ready to toast. "Nice gesture," he muttered. "Still prefer postcards myself." It was the kind of line that once would have drawn a laugh, a polite one at least. This time no one moved. Then Nathan stood, not abruptly, not like a man fueled by drama. He simply rose, straightened his collar, and looked straight at my father. "She didn't make this about herself," he said, voice steady, clear. "You did." My father blinked. A cousin leaned slightly forward. Nathan didn't look away. "That's Madison Lane," he continued, co-founder and COO of CoreMap, one of the fastest-growing AI logistics companies on the West Coast. She's not just impressive, she's respected, she's fair, and she's the reason I took this job. Now every head turned, some toward me, some toward Jenna, whose face had flushed a shade paler. Nathan glanced at her, then back at the room. I applied months ago, before I ever connected the name, and when I realized who she was, I was proud. I still am. The silence in the room shifted again. This time it leaned. He wasn't finished. "You talk about family like it's something that never changes, but real family evolves, learns, includes." Madison didn't walk away. You pushed her out, and even then she built something the rest of us now benefit from, including me. He sat down. No applause, no affirmations. Just the weight of his words settling like dust in sunlight. I looked at my mother. Her eyes hadn't left me. Her hands still rested on the envelope like it was a lifeline. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. I turned to Jenna. She didn't look back. She was staring into her water jaw, locked lips thin. The boys beside her didn't ask what was happening. They already knew. My father was still. Not stiff, not angry, just still. And for the first time in my life, I saw him without the armor. No role to play, no sarcasm to hide behind. Just a man staring at something he'd spent years pretending wasn't there. I reached for my bag, rose from my seat. "I won't stay long," I said quietly to my mother. "I just wanted to see you smile." She reached up, squeezed my hand with both of hers. "You did," she whispered. As I turned to leave, my heels echoed against the tile. Not loud, but unmistakable. No one followed. No one called my name. And that was fine, because this time, I wasn't leaving in silence. I was leaving seen. That night, I didn't cry. I took off my heels, ordered grilled salmon from room service, and opened my laptop. The Q2 forecast was steady. Our new routing models were outperforming expectations, and 2 municipal contracts had just cleared legal. On paper, everything was fine. At 9:40 p.m., the hotel phone rang. The front desk clerk said there was a woman asking for me. said her name softly. My mother. She arrived holding a plastic container wrapped in a dish towel. Inside were lemon squares, her signature. Uneven edges, cracked sugar tops, soft and sweet and utterly hers. She lingered at the door, unsure if she was allowed in. I let her. She looked around the room like she was seeing a piece of me for the first time. Said something quiet about how I always liked clean spaces. I replied she always liked sugar. We both smiled. Not wide, not warm, just enough. We didn't mention the dinner. Not yet. Instead, we talked about Alaska. I described the cruise, small quieter built for watching sky instead of shopping. She asked more questions than I expected. About the company, my team, the work. She wasn't just filling space. She was trying. Eventually, her hands folded in her lap. Her voice dropped. She said she hadn't realized how much I'd been carrying all these years. I told her no one had asked. She nodded, not to argue, but to accept. Said they'd tried to keep me small because it made me easier to understand. She called that a mistake. I didn't rush to forgive, but I didn't push her away either. She asked if she could visit Seattle sometime. I said yes. 4 days later, my phone buzzed with Jenna's name. I hesitated, answered. She didn't waste time with pleasantries. Just said she wasn't sure why she called, or maybe she did. Nathan had told her everything. Not just what he said at the party, but how he described me afterward. How I carried myself, led, showed grace under fire. It shook her. She admitted she had never thought of me as someone strong, just someone stubborn. Said my leaving had always felt like abandonment. But now she wondered if it had been survival. I let her speak. I let the silence fill the space between her realizations. She told me she used to resent me for changing while she stayed still. It made her feel small. I told her she wasn't small, just still becoming. She exhaled like letting go of something she didn't know she was holding. Said Mom wanted to visit me, then added softly that maybe she did too. I said they were both welcome. Right before she hung up, her voice caught again. She told me she was proud of me. Not just for succeeding, but for never making her feel less, even when she had tried to make me feel invisible. When I returned to Seattle that Friday, the hotel had left an envelope for me at the front desk. No return address. Just my name in my father's handwriting firm, exact, unmistakable. Inside, a single page. He wrote that I turned out different than he expected. Maybe even better. Said he didn't know how to apologize for the ways he'd underestimated me. That perhaps he didn't deserve to. But Mom had told him I was building something real. He said he believed her. And then this, you always had that stubbornness. I mistook it for rebellion. Turns out it was vision. No signature, no warmth, but no denial. And for a man like him, maybe that was all he could give. Maybe that was enough. That summer, I bought my first home in Marin County. It sat at the edge of the redwoods' sunlit quiet, overlooking a curve of the bay where the water turned silver at dusk. The floors creaked in the right places. The air smelled like eucalyptus and salt. It wasn't grand, it was enough. On move-in day, the team surprised me with a gift, a framed canvas print deep blue with white lettering. A quote I'd said once during a late-night planning session, half laughing, half exhausted, build so well they can't look away. It hung above my desk now. Just beneath it, in a smaller frame, was a yellow Post-it note slightly curled at the edges, ink smudged at the corner. On it, written in Nathan's careful handwriting, were 4 words. She's my boss. I never asked who saved it. I just knew it mattered. Not because it proved anything, but because it came from someone who had once been on the other side of the story and chose to speak up. The real story wasn't that I showed up. It's that I stayed steady long enough for the silence to collapse on its own. I didn't need to shout, didn't need to reclaim a seat at the table. I built a better one, then left the door unlocked. 5 years later, when my mother turned 65, we celebrated on my patio under string lights and soft jazz. Jenna brought the cake. Nathan ran the slideshow. My father sat in the corner, quiet but present, watching. As the evening faded into dusk, he approached me. Hands in his pockets, eyes soft with something between memory and apology. He didn't say much, just handed me an old photo me at age 10 building a company out of shoeboxes and tape Smart Moves ink, scrawled in red marker. On the back, he'd written, "Turns out you always knew." We stood there a while, not as enemies, not quite as family, just as people finally seeing each other. I didn't come back to be forgiven. I came back so no one could say I disappeared, not again. I didn't need to be welcomed back. I just needed the truth to stay in the room after I left. Have you ever returned not for forgiveness, but to prove you never left? If this spoke to something you've held in for years, just leave one word below. We'll understand.